Hello again, folks. After my two videos yesterday at 9th January 2025, I make now the video number 3, the third video about the topic East Germany or German Democratic Republic, short GDR, or on German correct, Deutsche Demokratische Republik, short DDR. Okay, let's go. Naturally, I'm now in the middle from my text, what I have read and comment here, not at the beginning. That was the two videos before this video now. Administrative districts until 1952. East Germany comprised the capital, East Berlin. So legally it was not fully part of the GDR's territory, and the 5 German states or inner states of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern in 1947 renamed Mecklenburg, Brandenburg, Saxony-Anhalt, on German Sachsen-Anhalt, named province of Saxony until 1946. Thuringia, my hometown or homeland, the inner state Thuringia, Thüringen on German, Thuringia and Saxony. Der post war territorial demarcations approximating the pre-war German demarcations of the Middle German Länder, or on English states, and Provinzen, for example provinces of Prussia, the how to explain. Russia was in the time before the Third German Reich has existed, the most influence in the German history, and naturally also in the German what is later become the First German Reich. Former provinces of Prussia. The western parts of two provinces or provinces, Pomerania and Lower Silesia, the remainder of which were annexed by Poland, renamed in the GDR and were attached to Mecklenburg and Saxony respectively. The East German administrative reform of the year 1952 established 14 Bezirke or districts, and de facto this established the 5 Länder. Die new Bezirke, named after their district centers, were as follows: Rostock, Neubrandenburg and Schwerin created from the land or state of Mecklenburg, Potsdam, Frankfurt an der Oder, the city Frankfurt and Oder is a river. Frankfurt an der Oder means not the Frankfurt at the river Main. In Germany we have two Frankfurts. We have Frankfurt at the Main river and we have Frankfurt at the Oder river. And in the former GDR that was Frankfurt at the Oder river. And Cottbus from Brandenburg, Magdeburg and Halle from Saxony-Anhalt, Leipzig, Dresden and Karl-Marx-Stadt. Former, the name from this town was Chemnitz until 1953, and again from 1990 from Saxony, and my hometown, my city, Erfurt, Gera and Suhl from Thuringia. East Berlin was made, the country's 15th Bezirk in 1961, but retained its special legal status until 1968, when the residents approved the new draft constitution, despite the city as a whole being legally under the control of the Allied Control Council and diplomatic objections of the Allied governments. The GDR administered the Bezirk of Berlin as part of its territory. Foreign relations or foreign relationships. Support of the third world socialist countries. After receiving wider international, moment please, I must drink a short a sip coffee. After receiving wider international diplomatic recognition between the years 1972 and 1973, the GDR began active cooperation with third world socialist governments and natural liberation movements. While the USSR was in control of the overall strategy, I try to speak it so, like I would speak English as my mother language, but English is not my mother language. While the USSR was in control of the overall strategy and Cuban armed forces were involved in the actual combat mostly in the People's Republic of Angola and Socialist Ethiopia. The GDR provided experts for military hardware, maintenance and personnel training, and oversaw creation of secret security agencies based on its own Stasi model. Already in the 1960s, contacts were established with Angola's MPLA. No notion what is the short version here from Angola, MPLA. Mozambique's Free Limo and the PAIGC in Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde. In the 1960s, official cooperation was established with other socialist states, such as the People's Republic of the Congo, People's Democratic Republic of Yemen, Somali Democratic Republic Libya, and the People's Republic of Benin. The first military agreement was signed in 1973 with the People's Republic of the Congo. In 1979, friendship treaties were signed with Angola, Mozambique and Ethiopia. It was estimated that altogether I must drink short. The mouth is dry. It was estimated that altogether 2,000 up to 4,000 DDR military and security experts were dispatched to Africa. In addition, representatives from African and Arab countries and liberation movements underwent military training in the GDR. East Germany and the Middle East conflict. East Germany pursued an anti-Zionist policy. Jeffrey Herf argues that East Germany was waging an undeclared war on Israel. According to Herf, the Middle East was one of the crucial battlefields of the global Cold War between the Soviet Union and the West. It was also a region in which East Germany played a salient role in the Soviet bloc's antagonism toward Israel, while East Germany saw itself as an anti-fascist state. It regarded Israel as a fascist state, and East Germany strongly supported the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, in its armed struggle against Israel. In the year 1974, the GDR government recognized the PLO as the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. The PLO declared the Palestinian state on the 15 November 1988 during the First Intifada, and the GDR recognized the state prior to reunification. After becoming a member of the UN, United Nations, after becoming a member of the United Nations, UN, East Germany made excellent use of the UN to wage political warfare against Israel, and was an enthusiastic, high-profile and vigorous member of the anti-Israeli majority of the General Assembly. Ba'athist Iraq, due to its wealth of unexploited natural resources, was sought out as an ally of East Germany, with Iraq being the first Arab country to recognize East Germany on the 10 May 1969, paving the way for other Arab League states to later do the same. East Germany attempt to play a decisive role in mediation of the conflict between the Iraqi Communist Party and the Ba'ath Party, and supported the creation of the National Progressive Front. The East German government also attempted to foster close relations with the Ba'athist regime of the Hafez al-Assad during the early years of Assad's regime, and, as it did in Iraq, used its influence to minimize tensions between the Syrian Communist Party and the Ba'athist regime, Western Europe. During the Cold War, especially during its early years, the East German government attempted to build closer diplomatic relations and trade links between Iceland and East Germany. By the 1950s, East Germany had become Iceland's fifth largest trading partner. East German influence in Iceland significantly declined in the 1970s and the 1980s, following a schism between the Socialist Unity Party of Germany and the Icelandic Socialist Party over the Prague Spring, on German der Prager Frühling, in this time period between the 1970s and the 1980 years, along with free market economic reforms implemented by Iceland during the 1960s. His military, the troops, the army of the former GDR, or German Democratic Republic, the National People's Army, or on German die Nationale Volksarmee, military. The government of East Germany have had control over a large number of military and paramilitary organizations throughout various ministries. Chief among these was the Ministry of National Defense. Because of the East Germany's proximity to the West during the Cold War, especially between the years 1945 and 1992, its military forces were among the most advanced of the Warsaw Pact here on German, Warsaw Pact, on English Warsaw Pact or Warsaw Pact, defining what was a military force and what was not is a matter of some dispute. The National People's Army, or on German die Nationale Volksarmee, the army of the former German Democratic Republic. Die Nationale Volksarmee, NVA, or the Natural People's Army, NVA, was the largest military organization in East Germany. It was formed in the year 1956. In the year 1956 from the former so known kasernierte Volkspolizei, Private People's Police. The military units of the regular police, or on German Volkspolizei. When East Germany joined the Warsaw Pact, from its creation it was controlled by the Ministry of National Defense, East Germany. One moment, I make me short a cigarette. Okay. It was controlled by the Ministry of National Defense, East Germany. It was on all volunteer force until an 18-month conscription period was introduced in the year 1962. It was regarded by NATO officers as the best military in the Warsaw Pact or Warsaw Pact. The NVA consisted of the following branches: land forces of the National People's Army, Volksmarine, the People's Navy, and air forces of the National People's Army, border troops, the inner border of between West Germany and East Germany, border troops. The border troops of the eastern sector were originally organized as a police force, the Deutsche Grenzpolizei, similar to the so-called Bundesgrenzschutz in West Germany. It was controlled by the Ministry of the Interior following the remilitarization of East Germany in the year 1956. The Deutsche Grenzpolizei was transformed into a military force in the year 1961, the same year as the wall in Berlin was built, the closing of the inner border in East Berlin and to West Berlin, modeled after the Soviet border troops, and transferred of the Ministry of National Defense as part of the National People's Army. In the year 1973 it was separated from the NVA, but it remained under the same ministry. As its peak It numbered approximately 47,000 men. Volkspolizeibereitschaft. After the NBA was separated from the Volkspolizei, People's Police, in the year 1956, the Ministry of the Interior maintained its own public order barrack reserve, known as the Volkspolizeibereitschaften, or in short VPB. VPB. These units were, like the kasernierte Volkspolizei, equipped as motorized infantry, and they numbered between 11,000 and 15,000 men. The Stasi, or the Stasi, on German Stasi, Ministerium für Staatssicherheit, on English the Stasi. The Ministry of State Security, in short Stasi or Stasi, included the Felix Dzerzhinsky Guards Regiment, Regiment, which was mainly involved with facilities, security, and plainclothes events security. They were the only public-facing wing of the Stasi. The Stasi numbered, in his complete history, around 90,000 men. 19, no, moment, not 19, here, the first two is 90, then a point, and then 1,000. 90,000 men. The Guards Regiment around 1,000 and 11,000 men. Combat groups of the working class. The, on German, Kampfgruppen der Arbeiterklasse, or in English, combat groups of the working class, numbered around 400,000 for much of their existence, and were organized around factories. The, in short, KDA, Kampfgruppen der Arbeiterklasse, abkürzt in short KDA, or on English KDA, was the political military instrument of the SED, the SED, Sozialistische Einheitspartei Deutschlands, the government of the former GDR, or German Democratic Republic. It was essentially a party army, Parteiarmee on German. All KDA directives and decisions were made by the ZK's Politbüro, ZK, on German das ZK, das Politbüro, on English ZK's Politbüro. They received their training from the Volkspolizei and the Ministry of the Interior. Membership was voluntary, but SED members were required to join as part of their membership obligation. Conscientious objection. I have problem to speak that out. Conscientious objection. Every man were required to serve 18 months of the compulsory military service. For the medically unqualified and conscientious objectors, there were the Baueinheiten, or on English the construction units, or the Volkshygienedienst, or on English People's Sanitation Service, both established in the year 1964, 2 years after the introduction of conscription. In response to political pressure by the National Lutheran Protestant Church upon the GDR's government in the 1970s, East German leaders acknowledged that former construction soldiers and sanitation service soldiers were at a disadvantage. It were at a disadvantage when they rejoined the civilian sphere. One moment, please. Totalitarianism and repression. There is a general consensus among academics that the GDR fulfilled most of the criteria to be considered a totalitarian state. There is, however, ongoing debate of the as to apology. I read it again. There is, however, ongoing debate as to whether the more positive aspects of the regime can sufficiently dilute the harsher aspects so as to make the totalitarian tag seem excessive. According to the historian Mary Fulbrook, here is what she have written or what she was saying, but that I read now not. I drop a little bit. The State Security Service, SSD, was commonly known as the Stasi, and it was fundamental to the socialist leadership attempts to reach their historical goal. It was an open secret in the GDR that the Stasi read people's mail and tapped phone calls. They also employed a vast network of unofficial informers who would spy on people more directly and report to their Stasi handlers. These collaborators were hired in all walks of life and had access by some words I have problems. With some words I have problems. These collaborators were hired in all walks of life and had access to nearly every organization in the country. At the end of the GDR in 1990, there were approximately 109,000 men, still active informants at every grade. repressive measures carried out by the Stasi can be roughly divided into two main chronological groupings: pre and post 1971, before the year 1971 and after the year 1971, when Erich Honecker came to power. According to the historian Nassim Goas, there was a change in how the Stasi operated under Honecker in the year or after the year 1971. The more brutal aspects of repressions seen in the Stalinist era, for example, torturing, executions, and physical repressions descending from the GDR's earlier days, was changed with a more selective use of power. The more direct forms of repression, such as arrest and torture, called mean significant international condemnation for the GDR. However, the Stasi still needed to paralyze and disrupt what it considered to be hostile negative. I think that is so a little bit like Stockholm syndrome. Hostile negative forces in for example internal domestic enemies. If the socialist goal was to be properly realized, a person could be targeted by the Stasi for expressing politically, culturally, or religiously incorrect use, for performing hostile acts, or for being a member of a group which was considered sufficiently counterproductive of the socialist state to warrant intervention. As such, writers, artists, youth subcultures, and members of the church were often targeted. It after preliminary research, the Stasi found an individual warranted action against them, then they would open an operational case in regard to them. Point. There were true desirable outcomes for each case. That the person was either arrested, tried, and imprisoned for an ostensibly justified reason, or if this could not be achieved, that they were deliberated throughout the application of Zersetzung, on German decomposition. This word Zersetzung on English, Zersetzung on German, on English decomposition methods. In the Honecker era, Zersetzung became the primary method of Stasi repression, due it a large part to an ambition to avoid political fallout from wrongful arrest. Historian Mike Dennis says between the years 1985 and 1988, the Stasi conducted about 4,500 and or to 5,000 OVs, operational cases, every year or per year. Zersetzung mit methods varied. Zersetzung methods varied and were tailored depending of the one moment please. Varied and were tailored depending of the individual being targeted. They are known to have included sending offensive mail to a person's house, the spreading of malicious rumors, banning them from traveling, sabotaging their career, breaking into their house and moving objects around, etc. These acts frequently led to unemployed, social isolation, and poor mental health. Many people had various forms of mental or nervous breakdowns. Similarly to physical imprisonment, Zersetzung methods had the effect of paralyzing a person's ability to operate, but with the advantage of the source being unknown or the least unprofitable. There is ongoing debate as to whether weaponized directly energy devices such as X-ray transmitters were used in combination with the psychological warfare methods of the Zersetzung. About 135,000 children were educated in special residential homes. The worst of them was Torgau Penal Institution till 1975. The International Rehabilitation Council for Torture Victims considers that there are between 300,000 and 500,000 victims of direct physical torture, Zersetzung, and gross human rights violations to the Stasi. Victims of historical Zersetzung can now draw a special pension from the German state. One moment. The economy. The East German economy began poorly because of the devastation caused by the Second World War, the loss of so many young soldiers, the disruption of business and transportation, the Allied bombing campaigns that decimate cities, and reparations owed to the USSR. The Red Army dismantled and transported to Russia the infrastructure and industrial plants over of the Soviet zone of occupation. by the early 1950s, the reparations were paid in agricultural and industrial products, and Lower Silesia, with its coal mines and Szczecin, an important natural port, were given to Poland by the decision of Stalin, of Joseph Stalin, of decision of Stalin, and in accordance with the Potsdam Agreement. The socialist, centrally planned economy of the German Democratic Republic was like of the USSR. In 1950, the GDR joined the Comecon trade bloc. In 1985, collective state enterprises earned 9 and 7% of the net national income. To ensure stable prices for goods and services, the state paid 80% of basic supply costs. The estimated 1984 per capita income was in dollar 9,800 or 22,600 in the year 2015 dollars. Today, to this time 9,800, and today would that be 22,600 dollars. This is based on an unreal official exchange rate. In 1976, the average annual growth of the GDP was 5%. This made the East German economy the richest in all of the Soviet bloc until reunification in 1990. Notable East German exports were photographic cameras under the brand Praktika, automobiles under the brand Trabant, Wartburg, and the IFA brands, hunting rifles, sextants, typewriters, and wrist watches. Until the 1960s, East Germans endured shortages of basic foodstuff such as sugar and coffee. East Germans with friends or relatives in the West, or with any access to hard currency and the necessary Staatsbank foreign currency account, could afford Western products and export quality East German products via Intershop. Consumer goods also were available by post from the Danish Jauerfood and Genex or Genex companies. The government used money and prices as The government used money and prices as political devices, providing highly subsidized prices for a wide range of basic goods and services. In what was known as the second pay packet, and the production level artificial prices made for a system of semi-barter and resource hoarding. For the consumer, it led to the substitution of GDR money with time, barter, and hard currencies. The socialist economy became steadily more dependent of financial infusions from hard currency loans from West Germany. One moment. East Germans, meanwhile, came to see their soft currency as worthless relative to the Deutsche Mark, or in short DM, the currency from West Germany, hard currency. Economic issues will also persist in East Germany after the reunification of the West and the East. According to Manfred Görtemaker, in the year 1991 alone, 1.153 billion Deutsche Mark, D-Mark, had to be transferred to Eastern Germany to secure incomes, support businesses, and improve infrastructure. From 1991 to 1999, this resulted in a total of 1.634 trillion D-Mark or Deutsche Mark. The sums were so large that public debt in Germany more than doubled. Consumption and jobs. Loyalty to the SED, the Sozialistische Einheitspartei Deutschland, the main party in East Germany, was a primary criterion for getting a good job. Professionalism was secondary to political criteria in personnel recruitment, and development. Beginning in 1963 with a series of secret international agreements, East Germany recruited workers from Poland, Hungary, Cuba, Albania, Mozambique, Angola, and North Vietnam. They numbered more than 100,000 in the year 1989. Many, such as future politician Sika Schall, who immigrated from Angola in 1988 as a contract worker, stayed in Germany after the so-called Wende. The transportation in Germany was with the Deutsche Reichsbahn, East Germany, the rail, Interrail, Deutsche Reichsbahn, East Germany, or Interflug, the airport, no, the air uh, float, air float. Also, apology. I have had now problems because here is no description to explain that good. The Deutsche Reichsbahn was the rail and the Interflug was the air transportation, civilian air transportation. Telecommunications. By the mid 1980s, East Germany possessed a well-developed communications system. There were approximately 3.6 million telephones in usage, 21.8 for every 100 inhabitants, and 16.476 telex stations. Both of these networks were run by the Deutsche Post, der DDR, or in English, the East German Post Office. East Germany was assigned telephone country code plus 37 in 1991. Several months after the reunification, East Germany telephone exchanges were incorporated into country code plus 49 up to today. The difference by the telephone country codes. The former GDR was having the country code plus 3 and 7, and now the same like West Germany plus 4 and 9. An unusual feature of the telephone network was that in most cases direct distance dialing for long distance calls was not possible. Alltalk area codes were assigned to all major towns and cities. They were only used for switching international calls. Instead, each location had its own list of dialing codes, with shorter codes for local calls and longer codes for long-distance calls. After the unification, the existing network was largely replaced and area codes and dialing became standardized. In the year 1976, East Germany inaugurated the operation of a ground-based radio station at Fürstenwalde for the purpose of relaying and receiving communication from Soviet satellites and to serve as a participant in the International Telecommunications Organization established by the Soviet government, Intersputnik. The demographics. The East German population declines by 3 million people Trautaug its 41-year history from 19 million in the year 1948 to 16 million in the year 1990. Of the 1948 population, some 4 million were deported from the lands east of the Oder-Neisse line, the both rivers Oder and Neisse, which made the home of millions of Germans, part of Poland and the Soviet Union. This was in contrast to Poland, which increased during that time from 24 million in the year 1950, a little more than East Germany, to 3 and 8 million, more than twice of East Germany's population. This was primarily a result of immigration. About 1/4 of East Germans left the country before the Berlin Wall was completed in the year 1961, and naturally also after that time. East Germany had very low birth rates, except for a recovery in the 1980s, when the birth rate in East Germany was considerably higher than in West Germany. Moment, I look short the running time from my record here. Oh, I think I must make again a new video, a further video. I think it will be too big. Okay, that I can read. Major cities. From the year 1988 populations. In East Berlin, 1,200,000 people population. In Leipzig, 505 and 6,000 people population. In Dresden, 5, 2 and 1,000. Apology. In Dresden, 5, 2 and 0,000 people population. In Karl-Marx-Stadt, 314,400 3 and 7 people population. Before that, names changed from the city in Karl-Marx-Stadt. The former name Chemnitz until 1953 reverted to original name in the year 1990. It was the name from the city Chemnitz, then it was Karl-Marx-Stadt, and now it is again Chemnitz, the name from the city. In Magdeburg, 290,597. In Rostock, 253,090. I have problems to speak that correct out. In Halle an der Saale, Halle is the name from the city, Saale is a river in the near from the city or in or by this city. 263,000. 44 people population. In Erfurt, in my hometown, in my city, 220,000, 16 people population. In Potsdam, 142,862 100 people population. In Gera, 143,843 people population. In Schwerin, 103,658. In Cottbus, 128,693 people's population. In Zwickau, 1,749 people's population. In Jena, 108,010 people, and in Dessau, 103,876 people. Okay. Moment, I look short what comes here. Okay, that is too long now, the text. Okay, I make now a break, and I must make video number 4 then. Ciao.